Volkswagen, once the titan of the global auto industry, is in serious trouble. Plunging sales, botched electric vehicle launches, and looming factory closures. It's chaos in Wolfsburg. Is it the end of the people's car? In just 1 year, Volkswagen went from leading the charge into EVs to fighting for survival. The clock is ticking, with executives warning that they might just have 2 years to turn it all around. Can VW salvage its legacy, or is it doomed to be crushed by competitors like Tesla and BYD? Today, we are diving into the heart of the Volkswagen crisis. From field strategies to market pressures, we're breaking down how one of the world's most iconic automakers ended up here and what it needs to do to claw its way back. Buckle up, this is the real story behind the Volkswagen meltdown. Plant closures are looming. Yes, Volkswagen is staring down the barrel of unprecedented factory closures in its home country, Germany. For 87 years, VW has stood as a symbol of German industry, but the CFO warns that the numbers don't lie. A market shortfall of 500,000 vehicles is equivalent to the output of 2 entire plants. This isn't just bad, it's catastrophic. In September of 24, Volkswagen announced the termination of its long-standing job security pact, which had guaranteed employment at 6 German plants since 1994. This pact, effective through 2029, was a cornerstone of labor relations at Volkswagen, fostering a collaborative environment and decades of trust between management and workers. Its sudden dissolution, part of a £10 billion cost-cutting strategy, was met with fierce opposition from the EG Metall union and the company's Works Council. Union leaders labeled the decision as a historical taboo breach. Daniela Cavallo, chair of the General Works Council, warned of potential strikes, stating firmly that workers should not bear the brunt of Volkswagen's restructuring efforts. The backlash was immediate and massive. Nearly 100,000 workers participated in strikes across 9 plants, making this the largest industrial action against Volkswagen since 2018. These protests underscored the deep-seated frustration among employees, who felt sidelined in decisions that directly impacted their livelihoods. Workers' morale has plummeted, and the ripple effect of this dissatisfaction could jeopardize production timelines, eroding Volkswagen's ability to compete in an already extremely tough market. Now, Volkswagen's market shortfalls also compound the internal chaos. The company faces a deficit of approximately 500,000 vehicles in Europe alone, a shortfall equivalent to 2 production plants worth of output. This isn't just about numbers, though. It reflects a broader decline in the European auto market, intensified by the rise of Chinese manufacturers and the accelerating transition to electric vehicles. For perspective, competitors like BMW and Mercedes-Benz have managed to weather these market changes with more stable production levels. Meanwhile, Volkswagen's operational inefficiencies have left it struggling to adapt, further amplifying tensions between management and its workforce. The fallout from this terminated job pact has only made these challenges more pressing, creating a perfect storm of external and internal pressures. Now, here's the thing. Volkswagen's ambitious pivot to electric vehicles is unraveling fast. Sales of their EV lineup are down a staggering 15.2% in Europe. Meanwhile, Chinese automakers like BYD are flooding the market with affordable, feature-packed EVs, leaving Volkswagen struggling to keep up. And let's talk about software, shall we? Or rather, the lack of it. Volkswagen's electric cars have been plagued by clunky, outdated systems that can't hold a candle to Tesla's seamless user experience. Customers, they're frustrated, obviously, and the lack of over-the-air updates only adds insult to injury. And then you talk about Volkswagen's pricing strategy. Yeah, that's a real head-scratcher. The ID.3, for example, is priced higher than a Tesla Model Y, despite offering far less in terms of performance and features. Buyers are noticing and just walking away. And you remember Dieselgate? Well, after Dieselgate, Volkswagen needed a bold move to regain trust. So, they chose to go all in on EVs, sidelining hybrids entirely, but that decision is now haunting them as competitors like Toyota clean up with hybrid models that appeal to broader audiences. And then you have the former CEO, Herbert Diess, who was both a visionary and polarizing figure. Critics blame him for overpromising and underdelivering on EVs, while his clashes with unions slowed progress to a crawl. New leadership, though, hasn't fared much better, leaving Volkswagen stuck in limbo. And I don't know if you knew this, but Volkswagen has always dominated the Chinese market. Yes, which once accounted for about 40% of its global sales, but that is eroding rapidly. Homegrown brands like BYD, NIO, and XPeng have surged ahead, leveraging cutting-edge technology, sleek designs, and aggressive pricing. BYD, for instance, now outsells Volkswagen in China, largely due to its focus on electric vehicles and government-backed advantages like subsidies and infrastructure support. Volkswagen's EV lineup, by comparison, has been criticized for being uncompetitive, lagging in range, software sophistication, and, well, lack of it, and affordability. The Automakers ID series, Volkswagen's primary EV effort in China, struggles to capture consumer interest, especially when Chinese brands offer superior products at lower prices. The competition isn't just a fight for market share, it's a brutal reshaping of the market landscape. Volkswagen, which once symbolized aspiration and quality in China, is increasingly perceived as outdated and out of sync with the desires of the modern Chinese consumer. The rise of Chinese brands in export markets only compounds the problem, as they're beginning to challenge Volkswagen on its home turf in Europe. But Volkswagen's declining market share in China underscores an even bigger problem: an inability to adapt quickly. Once heralded as the people's car in the Chinese middle-class boom, Volkswagen is now synonymous with legacy models that feel stale against the tech-savvy offerings of domestic rivals. Chinese automakers have embraced EVs and smart car technology with unmatched speed, whereas Volkswagen has been slow to pivot from its combustion engine roots. The numbers, they tell a grim story. Volkswagen's market share in China has fallen from 15% a decade ago to under 10% today. Meanwhile, Chinese automakers are scaling their exports to regions where Volkswagen traditionally held sway, such as Southeast Asia and the Middle East. This double-edged sword, losing ground in China while facing growing competition abroad, exacerbates Volkswagen's struggles. Without a bold and coherent strategy to regain its footing, the company risks becoming irrelevant in the world's largest automotive market. And post-pandemic Europe has introduced challenges that Volkswagen seems ill-equipped to handle. Consumer demand has softened due to economic uncertainties, while inflation and energy costs have driven production expenses sky high, particularly in Germany. Volkswagen's German factories, burdened by legacy overheads and outdated production methods, are struggling to compete with more agile players in the region. The European EV market, once a stronghold for Volkswagen, is also shifting. Tesla's Giga Berlin plant has brought more affordable, desirable EV options directly to European consumers, while brands like Hyundai and Kia are rapidly improving their EV offerings. Meanwhile, Chinese automakers like BYD and MG are aggressively entering European markets with budget-friendly EVs that undercut Volkswagen prices and features. Volkswagen's once loyal customer base is being tempted away by alternatives, which offer better value and cutting-edge technology. The company's high reliance on legacy models and the slow rollout of competitive EVs in Europe only deepen the issue. Unless Volkswagen can overhaul its product lineup and streamline its manufacturing, its position in the European market will continue to deteriorate. So, you're all asking, including me, what does Volkswagen have to do to survive? Well, its sprawling operations and product portfolio have become liabilities. CFO Arnaud Antlitz has been vocal about the need to simplify processes and leverage group synergies, essentially cutting out inefficiencies that no longer serve the company. With brands like Audi, Porsche, and Skoda under its umbrella, Volkswagen's overlap in development, production, and even marketing drains resources that could be better allocated. Antlitz's push to reduce complexity aims to transform Volkswagen into a leaner, more agile competitor. This includes narrowing down the model lineup, focusing on the best sellers, and investing in scalable platforms like the MEB, which is the Modular Electric Drive Matrix, to streamline EV production across multiple brands. However, such transformations require both time and discipline, two things that Volkswagen is running short on as competitors move faster and smarter. The challenge will be balancing the need for cost-cutting with maintaining quality and innovation, especially in key markets like Europe and China. And I think we all know in the automotive world looking forward, the future belongs to software-defined vehicles, and here, Volkswagen finds itself playing catch-up. Tesla's lead in the space, both in its sophistication of its software and its seamless integration into vehicle systems, casts a long shadow over traditional automakers like Volkswagen. The company's early attempts to establish in-house software expertise through the CARIAD subsidy were marred by delays, budget overruns, and poor execution, leaving Volkswagen behind the curve. The recent announcement of a collaboration with Rivian shows Volkswagen is willing to explore unconventional partnerships to address its software deficiencies. Rivian, known for its clean, intuitive software design, could offer better insights to Volkswagen, who needs it desperately. But it's only a start because Volkswagen must significantly ramp up its investments in autonomous driving, over-the-air updates, and vehicle operating systems if it wants to compete not only with Tesla but also the emerging players from China and tech companies entering the mobility space. This is not just a feature race. Software innovation will define brand loyalty and profitability in the coming decade. And if we need to talk about reputation, well, Volkswagen has taken a few hits over the years, from the Dieselgate scandal to the recent complaints about declining build quality and outdated interiors. Rebuilding consumer trust is critical to ensuring long-term success. For starters, Volkswagen needs to address concerns about quality control, particularly in its EVs, where issues with range, reliability, and cabin design have left some customers disappointed. But it's not just about fixing problems, it's about demonstrating a renewed commitment to delivering value. Volkswagen must price its vehicles competitively without compromising the features and quality customers expect. Efforts to localize production in key markets like North America and Asia should also help reduce the cost and appeal to consumers who increasingly prioritize regional manufacturing. Additionally, Volkswagen could ramp up communication and marketing campaigns to highlight any improvements it makes, focusing on transparency and a customer-first approach. And CFO Antlitz's words couldn't be clearer. Volkswagen has 1, maybe 2 years to fix its course. The stakes, thousands of jobs, billions in revenue, and the legacy of one of the world's most iconic brands. Failure isn't just an option, it's a looming reality. Plant closures, mass layoffs, and a shrinking global footprint could spell the end of Volkswagen as we know it. So, what are your thoughts of this? Is it going to be a complete massacre, or are they going to be able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and get things done? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed, like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and check out these Ideal vids over here. I'm Brad, this is Ideal. We'll see you next week, and promise one thing: keep living the ideal lifestyle.